All right, everyone, what is going on? Hope everyone's having a good day. It has been quite a while since I've been on here trading. However, I'm back and hopefully going to be here a little bit more often. We will have to see. But today felt like a really good day to be trading, so here I am. A little bit rusty. It has been quite a while since I've been trading, but here I am. I think it's going to be really difficult to tell if we're going to make money today or not. It has been like a pretty good while. So I'm going to kind of take it easy today. I'm going to kind of try to ease into things. Shouldn't be too big of a deal. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter if you make money today, if you make money tomorrow, whatever day, it doesn't really make a difference. If you know your strategy, you're good at your strategy, you're disciplined at it, you're a disciplined trader, then it doesn't really make a difference if you make money today or tomorrow. Overall, you will make money, and that's what matters. Okay. What do we do when we read charts, guys? High to low, top to bottom. High to low, top to bottom. Really not a lot of data here. At least not comparatively. I guess I could load a bunch more. I don't think it's really needed. Even though I haven't been in the market so much, I'm still pretty familiar with where we are. Previous all-time highs, which we've broken above. Let's take a look at this move right here, and let's just kind of make some notations about it real fast on the ES. This was a pretty quick sell-off for the bears. Nice little push up and second entry for the bulls. I did buy some ETFs around this level here, which I'm still holding. Some of them are up over 100% right now. But ended up being a really nice move for the bulls. And if we go through here and look at some of these bars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's like 9 bull bars in a row there. Another nice series of bull bars here with the gap up. This gap is still open. This gap right here is also still open. Little bit of resistance here, consolidation, and then another nice move. 2 bull bars in a row, 3 bull bars in a row, and what are bears getting? 1 bear bar, bear bull, 3 little bears here. Of course, 3 little bear bars won't undo anything to the left here. And then as soon as we are out of this little range in this consolidation area, we get back to the 20 EMA. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bull bars in a row again. Once again, we're seeing more and more series, but as we are getting to these all-time highs, I want you to notice something. I want you to notice that we're getting more bear bars in a row. We're getting less bull bars in a row. Bear, bull, bear, bull, bear, bull, bear, bull, 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 bear, 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 bear. So, getting a lot more bear bars in a row here. We're getting to the point where we're in a selling zone. Before I go on, let me just check my stream real fast. I've been having some trouble connecting to YouTube. I think that's probably what's happening right now. YouTube is not working for me today. I've never had this much trouble with it. Alrighty, we're going to continue on, even though I frankly have no idea if this is actually streaming or not. I haven't streamed in such a long time, and I come back and there's all these updates and everything's different. It's like new ways to do things. So yeah, I have no idea if it's actually working, but I guess I'll be trading with or without you guys. Alrighty, it does look like I'm going here, so that's good. Just really annoying, you know, you leave for a little bit and you try to come back, and everything's different. Okay, back to this analysis here. So pretty good little move up for the bulls, and now we're starting to hit some more resistance here. Now it kind of makes sense. We are in the time of year where things begin to get more bearish. Generally speaking, selling the market in August or September and holding until you know, beginning of October or so is generally a pretty good strategy for the most part. However, we are still pretty bullish, surprisingly. Now, that doesn't mean that we are not going to start getting weaker. Frankly, what I think is about to start happening is we're going to start transitioning into a broader channel, which means that we're going to go more sideways for quite a while. Then we're going to have another dip down, not sure where, maybe into here, who knows. But if we do have another dip down and then another push back up eventually, and I imagine it'll probably, you know, historically generally happens, start gaining momentum around November, and then it can continue on throughout the new year. So things are a little bit unusual now, though, so we're just going to have to kind of see how things play out. But for the most part right now, the main thing I want you to think about is I think that this is a broadening channel, a channel that's still bullish, but it's getting wider and wider, which means that we're going to have deeper pullbacks. We're going to have more legs down. You're going to have to look to scale into things more if you want to take a position into here, all that jazz. Quick notation. I'm sure that you have noticed that my charts look different than before. Well, one of the reasons why I've been gone for so long is because I've been doing a lot of coding work. I've been doing coding for NinjaTrader, let's see, for Quant Connect. I've been doing it for TradingView, and I've come up with a lot of indicators and strategies for both of them. Some of which I will share on my website at some point. Anywho, notice there are some big differences here. So I'm just going to go through these indicators very fast. Purple line, 20 EMA, exponential moving average. Blue line is the 60-minute, 20-period exponential moving average. Displayed on whatever time frame. So if I just go to the 5-minute, which of course I trade a lot, blue line here is the location of the 60-minute 20-period exponential moving average. Those are all obviously I did not create the 20 EMA. I did create the 60-period exponential moving average, though, or 60-minute 20 period. Then I also have a support and resistance indicator here. And what this does is it simply just helps me mark out previous support and resistance levels. Saves me time and analysis. Now I do have this gap indicator up here to show, NinjaTrader calls it fair value gap. I'm trying it out, so I do have some other indicators that I made that display these gaps and others that I just don't have them up right now. I actually did, ironically enough, create an indicator that did exactly what NinjaTrader did or is doing here, like a day or two before they came out with the update, and I found out it was in the update. I was like, really? But it's whatever. We also have these diamonds here, blue diamonds and orange diamonds. The blue diamonds display bars that are bigger than the last 20 bars, and the orange ones are bars that are bigger than the last 50, to kind of put into context how big or small a move really is. And this also helps us find out if a move is powerful or strong, or if it's climatic. Which ones am I missing? I know there's one that I'm missing. And this one won't show up very often. Here we go. I also have a breakout pattern indicator up. And that's what this is right here. You see this little ii. This just tells me that we have two inside bars in a row. Inside, inside. And in this case, it's red, not necessarily saying that it's going to be a bearish breakout, but it is saying that the signal bar is bearish. So that's a quick breakdown of these indicators, and of course, high and low of the day. We're going to see how it goes. I might take some of them off or put some others on, just depending. We're just going to have to see. The biggest thing is we don't want our charts to get crowded. Okay, we are at the open here, breaking below the range just slightly. Let's go to the daily real fast. What do we expect from today? I'm actually going to zoom in here. What do we expect from today? Well, first off, I think we should ask ourselves, is this going to be a potential breakout day? And I don't think that that's very likely. I don't necessarily think that today is going to be a really big day. We'll have to see. We are in an area where we should begin to find an increased amount of bears. However, if we look at this price action here, nice little sell-off, obviously not super strong compared to what's to the left, but considering the area, and if we, I guess, maybe begin with the cognitive bias of a broadened channel theory, the one that I presented a little bit ago, it would make these little sell-offs here, they make sense. A little sell-off. We have this really big bull bar, but we have no follow-through, so that makes it climatic. Makes you guess and wonder how many buyers there actually are in the market here. My guess is that bulls are a lot less willing to buy up in the all-time highs. They want a pullback first. Now, when it comes to a pullback, what are they going to get? Probably something along these lines, lasts for several bars, and maybe it'll go down to here, maybe it'll go down to the bottom of the range here, which this is the bottom of the range. We are in some kind of a range here. My guess is that it's going to be relatively big, but we'll just have to see. It could also just come close, right? If you think of the measure A plus B equals C plus D, right? That would be the measure. So it wouldn't be much lower if that were the case. But today I'm going to focus a lot more on smaller moves and good setups. Quick view of the 60-minute. I mean, I don't really think the 60-minute is telling us anything that we don't already know. Back to the 5, which is what we want to trade. We are at the open. 3 minutes into the open here. Alright guys, what's the rule for the open of the day? No matter how strong a move is, no matter how strong it appears to be, there is a 50% chance that that move will reverse. And remember too, only about 20% of days, and frankly I'm not even really convinced that 20% is accurate, but at most only 20% of days are going to be trends from the open. Alright, let's look at some others really fast. Gold. As you can see, I've not put any indicators on here. Let's put some on here real quick. Yeah, I'm not set up quite as much as I would like to be because I've been trying to work with YouTube. As you can see, I have quite a few indicators on there. Quite a few. I almost don't even want to trade gold in this. I would be much more interested in buying and accumulating. It's a stair step on a higher time frame. You know what I mean? Because it's like you just got to work with me here. Imagine a higher time frame. How many bars are going to be in here? Yeah, a couple bars here. And we're going to have a push down and a push up. Another push down and a push up. Stair stepping. Which makes sense because if we're looking at the daily chart, of course it's this huge range. Do I really need to mark this out? I don't feel like I need to mark this out. I feel like it's kind of obvious. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on this, but not that interested in the moment. NQ, let's look at NQ. That's the wrong one. That's the one that I made. Didn't even get finished with it before Ninja Trader came out with their update for this one. All right. The NASDAQ looks a little bit more bullish than the S&P. make some adjustments real fast here. So we can go to support and resistance, and I'll release these indicators one day, but we can change how sensitive it is, and we can get rid of some of these lines, make our charts cleaner. Now this doesn't eliminate the need to draw it, every line, but it does quite a few lines. Definitely limits how many you have to draw. Just kind of taking a look. I kind of wonder if it's going to be a signal bar for a second entry today. That is kind of what I wonder. Kind of starting the day already in the second leg of a breakout. 1, 2, at least on the NQ. On the ES, we're having a push up. The cool thing about this indicator though is it pretty much has drawn the range for me here. While that doesn't necessarily happen every time, it is nice when it does happen. So we're bullish on the ES. NQ is just finished a bear doji bar. NQ just finished a pretty sizable bull bar there. And we're racing down at the beginning of this bar on NQ. Interesting little anti-correlation there. Anti-correlation, whatever. Reverse correlation. We might get a bear signal bar here on gold, and then actually get to the bottom of the range. However, those of you who know me know that I have absolutely no interest in shorting anything in the middle of the range. I'll wait for the top or the bottom, and preferably the top, because if we look at the context, it's a pretty good bear push down in a overall stair-stepping pattern. Notice too, we don't even have a gap, right? So if we have like a high pullback, I mean, you have a measure in there, even though we also have 1, 2, 3 wedge. You do have a measure in here, right, that projects up based on the gap between this high and this low, but we never broke above the high, so got kind of trapped in there if you were betting on that. And we ended up falling really, really, really hard in gold. At least from a 5-minute perspective, at least. All right, if we get a bear bar here, do we go for a scalp? Do we scalp on a bear bar? Let me see. Is this the right thing? It is. Okay. It's been so long, guys. I have to like try to think of my hotkeys. Try to remember them again. This is kind of odd, and I've seen this specifically with Ninja data. Data from when I use NinjaTrader, but there's a gap. There's a gap between this close and this open. Gap between this close and this open. Probably some others in here that I'm not really seeing. just interesting to see exactly how many gaps there are. I feel like there's more gaps with NinjaTrader than there are with other programs. It'd be interesting to know why. Also be interesting to have a gap up in bear bar. I think the real question here is, can bears keep these gaps open? Can they keep at least one gap open? We'll have to see. Geez, maybe I should just be on NQ today. Wow. All right. Absolutely racing down here. All right, what's the point of this indicator here? Orange bars are bars that are bigger than the last 50 bars. Here's a big bar. A few bars later, bigger bar. A few bars later, bigger bar. A few bars later, bigger bar. This bull bar really shows how climatic it actually is. Probably not going to get a signal bar in here, but this would be a reasonable scalp. Like I said, I don't feel like we're going to get a signal bar. About 5.5 points of risk if you choose to enter on a stop. Gold hitting the bottom of the range like we thought could happen, thought might happen. Notice I'm not trading crude light today. Also, I forgot to change the date on the thumbnail, so I know it says January. I'll change it after the video is made. So what do we want from this bear bar? If you're going to take this as a signal bar, which I am not quite sure yet if I will or not, I can tell you one thing for sure. If this bar closes below its, or I guess above its midpoint, then I will probably not use it as a signal bar. Keep in mind too, I mean, if you're looking at this setup here on the ES, this is really just a scalp. It's just a scalp. minute and a half left. Oh, I know, my chair is so squeaky. Oh, there's some more sellers. Not really the signal bar we're looking for. Could you sell the close of this bar? I think you could, but I think you'd have to be willing to scale in. So my question here is, and we'll have to wait to see what happens, but my thought is that the bulls who bought in here became disappointed, and then we're going to need a 50% pullback from either this low and this high, which would mean that essentially this bear bar has an increased chance of becoming, at least temporarily, climactic. So it would be one pullback and then second entry, and that would be the setup. Or you could sell here with a small position, saying that you don't really care if it pulls back and you would like to at least get it to the current low of the day, and you'll either win on a small position or there's a reasonable chance that you'll be able to scale in, somewhere over in here and get back to that exact same spot. Me right now, for the time being, I'm waiting. Like I said at the beginning of today, I'm kind of taking it slow. Just jumping back into things. Nice little move on gold here. Obviously, this is where you'd want to sell 1, 2, in failure, or I guess really it's a wedge, right? So it's like 1, 2, double top, failure. Because anytime there is a failed, especially in an instance like this where it's a range, you have a double top, failed double top, you have this big bull bar, it's bigger than the last 20 bars, and it's followed by a bear bar, a bull bar with a big long wick. You don't really get a good signal bar here. You would hope that this bull bar right here would be a bear bar, and that would be your signal bar. You didn't really get that here. You can be short at the very bottom of this bar, and then you still have a decent little move. But watch out for this, guys. Double top, one more push up, creates a wedge. Creates a wedge. You got to watch it. All right, bears are yet to do a lot of selling in this bar here. So remember our thought, my thought, whoever, I don't care if you agree or not. My thought here was that we're going to have essentially a small range and a second entry. Second entry short, I'll be specific there. And let's zoom out while we're waiting for this to develop. Let's zoom out. Just kind of take a look at things. Try to get a fresh perspective on what's going on in the market. Oh, so obviously we've gone over the daily chart. We've talked about kind of what we expect from it. This is the 15-minute. Let's just make some notations. Let's just start with this, right? We have a previous high, tested it, we didn't get past it. We got 1, 2, 3 pushes down from it. Little breakout here. This 15-minute bar starting to get bought up. The thing about being short is we have all of this to go up against. Now, the longer we're in this range, the more likely it is that bulls are going to begin to give up. Because bulls who bought somewhere down here, wherever, who are still holding through this on whatever time frame chart, they're sitting here waiting to make profits. And if those profits aren't coming, if bulls are not clearly not buying as much as we talked about on the daily chart, if we're beginning to get to more of a ranging market than a trending market, then they're going to look to go ahead and take profits, and they're not going to want to buy again until we have pullbacks. Let's take a look at this 5 real fast. What did we say, guys? Wow, how does Nick do that? Predict the next bar. Wow. So we can consider a second entry short here. It is a reasonable trade. Risk is a little bit high. Risk is a little bit much, but it's not horrible. Kind of have a similar setup in a way on NQ. I think the biggest difference here is that you need to be able to scale into this if you're an NQ. Okay. Do we take it? If we're presented with a second entry short, do we take it? I mean, I think it's reasonable. Win or lose, I do think it's reasonable. We do have what I feel like is a measure here. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's not a measure. I do think it's interesting. you have this really big bull bar here. If we go straight across, this volume area is where they bought at before. Say volume area. How do I know it's a volume area? I don't have a volume indicator. I just know, guys. I just know. If you do this long enough, you just know. You don't need these indicators. Even these indicators that I created, they're great. They do, I mean, they help me out because they draw things for me. That's all I really need. Alright guys, we got 35 seconds. Wait to see how this bar finishes. 5 1/4 points of risk, or 5 1/2 really. You gotta get the extra tick. But we need a good finish. That's not a good finish. I don't want this as my signal bar. I'm not taking it, guys. I'm not going to do it. I need a good signal bar. I just do. We might still be in a range. I don't know. This also might be a failed entry by the bears here. This might be, you know, bears beginning to give up. At least for the moment. Bears might want to wait to sell up here. Either it looks like a second entry or not. We're going to have to see. No matter what it is, I can't take a trade with a signal bar like that. It's not going to happen. I can be patient. Those of you out there who can't be patient like that are not going to do well. Also notice this was like a perfect gap fill. Filled that gap perfectly. It's interesting. Here in a second, there might be a huge institution come in and just sell the market, and the market crashes. And I could have made millions of dollars in like a minute. And I don't care. It makes no difference to me. I trade by my rules. If you can't trade by your rules, then I'm sorry, but you're not going to be successful. Sometimes your rules, they say don't enter on a trade, and that trade ends up being really good. Happens, man. That's it. Hope everyone's drinking their tea this morning. Can't make money in the market if you don't drink tea. It's a little bit more of a reasonable setup on the NQ. Still not the signal bar that we want, though. Although it would be interesting if it ended up being an inside-inside bar, and that bar ended up being a bear bar. That could be a pretty good setup. It's essentially a wedge pattern. It's essentially a 3-bar wedge. That's what it is. Same thing for patterns that are bull, bear, bull, bear, bull, bear, essentially, more or less. You know what I mean? With 3 legs up. Essentially the same thing there. It's a wedge. Okay, well, looks like we're still in the range. I think this could be a reasonable short entry, though, if we end up with a pretty good bear bar with a long wick. Think of it as a reversal bar. I have to check on our risk. What is our risk right now? About 3 3/4. It's much better risk to reward ratio. Let's get an order up, and we'll see how we get filled, or I'm sorry, how the bar ends. Gray bar, guys. Gray bar. Now, given the context, I still don't think it's that bad of a short, but I'm just starting back, guys. I'm staying disciplined. I do not care. I need a bear bar to be short. I need a good signal bar, or I'm not going to do it. Period. Big, long-wicked gray doji. It's not a good signal bar. There's no book in the world that tells you this is a good signal bar. This is still a wedge, more or less. I don't know, actually. I don't think I want to show y'all that. I think I'm just going to keep it to myself. Alright, are we going to break out? Is this the breakout in gold? I don't know. Probably not, but maybe. Just keep in mind, too, we're stair-stepping, so any breakout is likely going to get bought back up. All right. Not that we would have actually been filled, but this is an example of why we wait for a signal bar. And a good one at that. That does change my perspective of things a little bit, though. What do we have? 3 bull bars in a row, a bear bar, bull, bear, gray. At this rate, I think it's reasonable to at least think that we're going to fill these open gaps that the bears have, which I think probably just increases the probability of a ranging day. Certainly increases the probability of a range in the morning. Some of you may see this and think that it's a really good bullish setup. I can kind of see what you mean, because it looks like there's a really strong trend, even though there is more selling in here and more selling throughout here. It does look like there's a really strong trend up and then a higher low. Really big bull bar, bear bar, followed by another bull bar. This bull bar acting as a signal bar. But I do still think that there's bears selling higher. And I think overall it's going to limit us. Also, think of the time of year. While it's not impossible, and it's not like it's just never ever happened before, where we're actually bullish uh, this time of it's late summer essentially. Uh, Even though it doesn't happen often, it has of course happened before where we have been bullish around this time of year. The markets have been, but we still have to keep in mind that that's a low probability outcome. Alright guys, we're just in a waiting game right now. I did not pull up any of my stocks. Maybe I should. Maybe we should talk about stocks some too. I'll pull up stocks here. Although I'm not going to lie to you, I have not been doing a lot of looking at stocks, so can't really tell you what to and not to buy. I would like for you to tell me what to and to not buy. But we can pull up some random ones to talk about price action. Give me a second, I'll find a good one. After we check on everything really fast. Stop it. We're just kind of waiting right now. Short on NQ. Oh, short on NQ. It's a good question. I mean, it's really tempting, I'm not gonna lie. Not really sure if it's what I want, though. It's got to give me a good signal bar, too, which it is not doing right now. It's not giving me a good signal bar. All right, we're going to find some stocks to look at. Why don't we talk about UNH, actually? Why don't we, though? All right, we're waiting for things to develop here. Um, should we consider a long... maybe we should. Maybe we should consider a long entry and see if those gaps get filled. Obviously, they've been filled on the ES. Let's make sure we're good here before we look at stocks too much. It's a pretty nice little bar. I'd say you could probably even buy the close of this bar. Probably be reasonable. It's a lot of risk. Probably. It's not so bad. Once again, though, doing this, you need to be able to scale in. I think a lot of times I just see the bar size and I say it's a lot of risk because I'm so... just trade the ES so much more. When I actually do the math, it's not really that much more. Yeah, it probably would have been a decent buy, looking at it. Thought of it kind of late, unfortunately. That's okay. See how we get when we get to the, or see what happens when we get to the high of the day. Pretty sure the high of the day is here, even though I don't have it marked on this chart. All right, if this is a big bull bar, can you buy the close here? I think you probably could. If you're buying in the trend, though, you have to be willing to scale in. You do have a level here, which may act as at least a small form of resistance. If you did buy here, if you did buy here and you were a real trader, you'd put your stop loss there. I say that kind of ironically. I understand not everybody has the account size to risk something like that, and if you did, then you'd have to double your profit level as well. So don't take that too harshly. I frankly would have put my stop loss here even. It's just more logical, especially if you're buying in a trend and you're not trying to scale in. Just put it there. But if you did buy this, then yeah, this would be a decent buy the close bar here with the big tail. I think I was a little bit distracted at the time to actually see it happening, but there she is. Alright, back to what was distracting us in the first place. Let's look at UNH real quick, actually. Alright, I hear that Warren Buffett bought UNH recently. And I don't think that was fake news. Misinformation, whatever you want to call it. The man himself, the dip buying master, Warren the Man Buffett, buys UNH. And why would you want to do that? Well, 621 all-time high. And I'm guessing that he bought in the 230s, 240s, 250s, maybe the 260s. Yeah, so he got this stock at less than half price. It's a pretty good deal. Now, if you're someone like Mr. Buffett or others, it doesn't even really make a difference if the stock price continues to tumble. Of course, you buying these shares helps hold it up at least a little bit. But if the stock price continues to tumble, what happens? You buy more. And you continue to buy more because eventually you know that you're going to make a lot of money out of it. This dollar cost averaging, that's what a lot of people call it nowadays. Back in the day, they just called it investing. But a lot of what this is, frankly, some of the most effective ways to make money. Especially if you do this with something like the S&P 500. And even though that we're sitting here trading, when we're looking at stocks, it doesn't matter what, I don't care what company it is, guys. I don't care what they do, if you like them, if you don't like them, if you like their management or not, what's going on in the, I don't know, I don't care. The only thing I know is what's happening on the charts in front of me. That's it. I have no idea what news events are coming up. I have no idea. I don't even know who the name of their CEO or any management. It makes no difference to me. And frankly, when it comes to long-time stocks like UNH and frankly many others, it shouldn't make a difference to you either. I think that everyone's portfolio should be filled with stocks like this and others where they are just buying small amounts over time. So that is my buy the dip play. Okay, if you did buy this bar, where is your profit target? Well, it's reasonable to think that we're at least going to fill these gaps. I would say putting a profit target essentially at this red line is reasonable. It is also a pretty strong move up, considering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bull bars have pretty much undone what many bear bars undid. So what do you guys think? Is this new NinjaTrader indicator, is it too distracting? I don't think I mind it so much. I don't know, it adds a little color to the charts, I guess. Some people like just pure black and white charts, and that's cool. I'm okay with a little bit of color. I'm just not okay with messy. I'm not okay with a bunch of lines. honestly, once you get good at trading, you just kind of see the lines. They don't necessarily need to be drawn. My indicator that I wrote draws a lot of the lines that I need. All I need is an occasional trend line or an occasional top or bottom of the range line, something like that. I'd say some people probably even say that I have too many indicators up and that this looks messy. And I get that. You definitely don't need everything that I have. But it does make my life a little bit easier, especially when it comes to drawing things. And just really just overall situational awareness. Okay. Big bull bar. Pretty good size. Oof. Can we be short here? I mean, you're betting on a climactic bull bar here, right? Because I mean, I don't think we actually really need to measure. We can just use our eyes. Here's a pretty good sized bull bar. This bull bar is a little bit smaller. This one is bigger than all of them. So is it an exhaustion bar or is it a trend bar? Does it really matter? Because even here, even if we get a signal bar, an inside signal bar here, how big of a move are we really expecting as bears? If you're looking at this as a bull, we haven't broken out of here yet, but we have broken out of this area. And we're starting to find a little bit more sellers, although I don't know, it looks like it's starting to go away now. But if you're a bear, what do you really expect out of this? I mean, at most, you're going to get a scalp. Maybe you'll fill this gap if we have like an inside bear bar by chance. So you got to kind of ask yourself, is this worth taking? Now, at the same time, if you're in a bull, you get a pullback. We're just going to have to see what that pullback looks like before we determine the strength of a second leg up. But it's very possible that you won't really have a super strong second leg up. Yeah, if you're a bear here, you're really just going for a scalp. It is a really tempting setup, though. I will say that. If you take it, just know that you're going for a scalp, really. Should we take a small position here? I mean, I'm okay with a small position. It is small risk. I'm not really happy with the trade overall, though. I'm not going to lie. Of course, it slowly gets riskier. I think we want to wait for more confirmation. Let's look, I mean, like, let's look at what happened before. Like, micro double top, bigger double top, double top, double top, double top, double top, double top failure, double top, and a big winner. I think I want to wait for more to be short. Just being patient, guys. Just being patient. I want a little bit more. If I got a double top, because then we would have an overall encompassing pattern, and then we'd have a signal within that pattern. Anytime that you can stack what's happening, you're better off. That means that if you have a pattern on a larger time frame, like let's just say you have a triangle, and then you go to a smaller time frame, or even if you're just on the same chart and you see a triangle overall, and then you look down at your bars, and then you see another pattern within your bars that indicates a potential breakout. Stacking patterns like that is going to help you frankly just be more accurate and time yourself properly. We're not just looking for bar patterns. You know, people a lot of times when they look through the microscope at trading, they're either zoomed way out or they're zoomed way in, and they're both wrong. You want to be flexible, and you want to be somewhere in the middle, because you need to see the big pattern and the big picture, the overall trend, but you also need to see the temporary, shorter term trends that are happening as well. And I say trends, I mean patterns really, not trends. Rather it be a bar pattern, just something overall like a double top. This one is kind of nice, right? It's like a double top, or you could say it was a range in 1, 2, 3. Nice signal bar. It's a reasonable signal bar there. That would have led to a really nice move. And also, if we had bought this bar here, like what we were thinking about, was it that bar? Pretty sure it was that bar. It would have made for a decent little move there too. No, it wasn't that bar, it was this bar. And we are just about there. I think if you are in this trade, starting to go kind of sideways, I still think that overall there's a higher probability that we will fill the gap than we won't. However, I would probably go ahead and move my stop loss up. Should probably at least be at break even right now, because we're starting to go sideways and it's starting to look a little bit weak. Profit target should be, I think I personally would put my profit target at the red line. Seems reasonable. You can also just wait for this gap to fill. I think we can get a little bit more out of it though, which is why I'd put it there, but it's also why we have a trailing stop. And here on gold, nice move up. We get to the point where it's like pull back, second leg up. We can have a second entry short. That might be an interesting trade. Once again, our trade would not have been triggered if we decided to be short here. But like I said, downside is limited, and we need an overall encompassing pattern, really. That's why whenever I was looking back at things, it's like, well, every other time it's bounced off this level, it's been a double top. And it makes sense. There has to be some type of big overall pattern. V reversals are not common. So let's see here. This is a form of a double top, higher high double top. Between here and here, is it good enough to be short? That's a tough one. Once again, being short here limits your downside. You do not have a large profit target if you take this trade. And that's if we even get a signal bar to take it. Okay. Will it be an inside bar? Now, it doesn't have to be an inside bar. You can have outside bars as signal bars. They're appropriate sometimes, but once again, if you have an outside bar, you're just even closer to your profit target, which is going to be the 20 EMA. $5 points. My risk would be about 3.5. It's not, I mean, that's a scalp, you know, that's not really my style of trading. That's what it looks like on the 15. Do we take a short position here? That's a tough one. If you take a short position here, you have to trade small. You just have to. Maybe you should ask yourself, what would you rather? Would you rather buy down here, or would you rather sell up here? I'm not really convinced I don't know. If we can keep some of these gaps open, I would definitely be interested in buying, I think. If we can keep these gaps open, though, then the upside is probably going to be bigger than the downside. If we can't, then it's probably going to go back into a range, at least for a while. I'm not taking this trade, not taking it short. It is technically a micro double top, higher high. Good signal bar. Haven't triggered yet for a stop, but pretty close. You're probably going to get hit if you have a stop order up. All right, you'd be filled now. And I personally am not really involving myself, not being short at least. Not yet. And the reason why is because I just don't feel like the risk to reward is there for me in this trade. I don't feel like we have enough potential downside for it to really warrant the risk. However, if bulls can keep these gaps open, and we'll see if they can, then that would mean that the upside would likely be greater, and I can look to be a bull. All right, well, our gaps are filled on NQ. It's kind of rough there at the very end, but the gaps did get filled. I think we said round once this bar formed that probabilities increased that would happen. Here we have our first leg short. Now we're in our second leg up for the bulls. It's pretty cool how when it just glitches down like that. It's pretty neat. It's getting there pretty quick. Maybe it would have been a good short trade. Although we'll have to see how it acts around this moving average. Still have over 3 minutes left in this bar. It's filled most of the gap here. You'd think they'd probably go ahead and fill the rest of it. We'll have to see though. The Bears don't want it filled. I'm sorry, the Bulls don't want it filled. Should also be buyers around the moving average. We'll have to see if there's enough to keep the market up. All right, less than a minute and a half. Oh, possible double top signal on gold. Oh boy, do we want to take it? I feel like you still gotta allow yourself time to scale, or the ability to scale in if we do take it. I don't think it's a horrible thing to take. Oh man, we do need to consider being bullish here. Once again, a gray bar. Man, if that was a bull bar, I would have been a lot happier. Probably would have considered a long position, but it's fine. Looking at this, that. Not super strong. Might wait for this bar to develop And I might say that I'll either use this bar as a signal bar or as a waiting bar. So in other words, I'll either see if this closes bearishly, and if it has a good close, then I'll use that as a signal bar. I'll get in a little bit late, but I will have a little bit more confirmation. The other thing you can do is just go ahead and put an order down here, get filled, be okay with scaling in up here and using a pretty wide stop. Now, I'm really kind of waiting for this to exhaust itself. Kind of like what it did here. Big move up, really strong, lots of bull bars. Got a couple of bear bars in there, but then we just got to the previous top and bulls basically just gave up. I mean, there's even some pretty good bull bars in there, and they just were like, nah, we're done. So they gave up. Price came back down. Let's see when it came up again. Came up, it looked really strong. Pull back, big climactic bar. So you can see it start to exhaust itself. Exhausts itself in here. It starts to get exhausted in here. It's kind of what I'd like to see again, really. Some form of exhaustion. Not a good enough signal bar for me, guys. Yes, I'm being super picky today. I know, I'm being so picky. Being picky because it's been a while. It's been a while, and I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, the only good trade that I've really seen today would be buying this bull bar here. It's the only good trade that I've seen. The only one that I look back and say maybe I should have taken that trade, but all these others that I've considered, there's been issues with them. And those issues have played out. Being short here, there was an issue with that. Being short here, although some of y'all probably made a profit off of it. You made it in like 2 bars. That's pretty cool. But you see what I mean, though? It just like snapped back. And it didn't end up as a good signal bar, unfortunately. I'd like to use this as a signal bar, but it's probably going to be too much risk, quite frankly. And now you're buying really close to the high of the day, even though, at least right now, it appears that there's a reasonable chance that we're going to break out of there, at least for a ways. At least for a small ways. You're in a position now where you're buying near the top. If this had lasted several bars, you can get a position in here, get a small stop loss. You'd have your 2-to-1 or your 1 and 2 risk to reward. You would be fine. You wouldn't really think anything of it. But here we're kind of left. If we took this, in order to have a proper risk to reward ratio, we would have to bet on a bullish breakout. You can bet on a bullish breakout. You can do anything. You can bet that the market's just going to collapse here in a few seconds. Let's go back to gold. Okay. I mean, you can bet on anything, really, but I don't bet on bullish breakouts near the high of the day. Don't do it. And I don't do it when the daily chart is in a range like this. It doesn't mean that it won't break out. It doesn't mean that I'm right all the time. It just means that there's a reason I stick to this rule. It's because I've been doing this for years and I've been screwed so many times in this situation, trying to buy at the high of the day in a day that's most likely going to be ranging. Getting extension above the range in gold. This could be, depending on how it goes, this could be a good place to look and sell at. I'm just going to have to see how this bar plays out. Right or wrong, when you take a position in a range, right or wrong, when you take a position in the range, you gotta sell high, you gotta buy low. And I mean like about as close to support and resistance as possible. Doesn't mean you're gonna win every time, but it does mean that your chances of winning get a lot higher. Guys, if you enjoy this live stream, buy me an office chair that's not squeaky. I'll get a new one day. I just, you know, frankly, I don't stream that much anymore, obviously. This looks a little bit nicer right here. This is a double top. This is a little bit better of a short position here. I think this can be considered here. Let's see about what we're at. Yeah, I mean, it's reasonable. We'd be going below the moving average, and we'd be looking at a measured move down would be the profit target. If we get a good signal bar, I'll go ahead and do that measure, but until that happens, I don't really see the point in measuring anything. Considering we haven't gotten a good signal bar yet today, except for that one on the NQ that we missed. All right, guys. Small position to start off with, just one contract. Alright, I guess since we have an order up there, we'll go ahead and do that measure. Maybe I should make myself a fancy measuring tool. There's the measure. Basically, getting filled here is betting on a range day. If we even get filled here. If this is a bull bar, then we'll have to start over again because we'll lose the signal bar. If this goes above the high of the day too, I don't think I'm very interested in the position. There's a part of me that kind of doesn't even want to get filled now because it's been like this for several minutes. Let's see, I guess 2.5 almost. Wait for another signal bar. Let's stop this for a second and let's look at gold. Okay, so let's look at this real quick. We were hoping this, as bears, we were looking to take a short position. We were hoping this was an exhaustion bar. If this was an exhaustion bar, the following bar would have been a bear bar. It would not have been a bar that looked like this. This is not, even a bear bar here does not to me, at least the way I see it is if you get a bear bar here, even if it closes at its low, it's one bear bar versus two bull bars here, right? Because of the size of this one, the size of this one, or really the size of this one, and not just the size, but the follow through that this one created. Once again, it makes me kind of want to double top or some more confirmation. Because it should have been this big bull exhaustion bar and then a bear bar. Or at least a much weaker bull bar, if nothing else. That is not what we got there. Do we want to get filled in the final seconds? Potentially. We could. It wouldn't be horrible. Honestly though, 20 seconds left. Still a bull bar. Not really sure if there's a reason to put an order up on the board. Not really sure if there's a purpose in that. We got a few seconds left. If this is a bear bar, it's a gray bar. The context isn't bad, but it is a gray bar. Oh man. I think I won in it. I think I won it. I do feel like I'm kind of violating the rules though with it being a gray bar. I think the context is decent though. I'm okay to get filled with a decent position here. I can be here and I'll be fine. All right, we're filled. All right, we're in it to win it or lose it. All right. Real small risk, guys. Small position, small risk. Once again, entering on a gray bar. Not really something we want to do, but felt like the context was good enough overall. The risk to reward was there. Why not try it? Are you asking what are we looking for? Oh, I think you're just replying to something I said. Daniel Invest, hello and welcome. All right, probably about to lose this position. Not too worried about it. I am trading price action, most similar to Al Brooks. Definitely check out, I have a whole bunch of other videos. Definitely check those out too. You'll find a lot more examples in there. What is the purpose of the live stream? Honestly, it's kind of just to get myself warmed up, really. It's been a while since I've been in here trading, so I'm kind of just in here getting warmed up and going to start doing it a little bit more often. That and the fact that I got to make sure I actually know how to, I still know how to work all the software that I have. All right, about to get stopped out. There we go. And it's out. No problem, my dudes. Not even worried. We do need to go ahead and mark this high though, so we can be aware of that level. And then we're just going to wait for another setup. That's all we can do. That's all we can do. We'll have to see just kind of how strong this breakout is. We do have another level of resistance in here that we're going to have to be aware of. Gold, once again, it's a good thing we did not look to take the short trade. It's going ahead, it's going to break above the high here. So looking at things, we've had a lot of setups that haven't been super great today that we've skipped over. Skipped over a short entry here. The original short entry here. The only really good trade that we've found is buying the close of this bull bar right here. And saw that one a little bit late, wasn't able to get into it. And then in gold, when we first came to gold, we were down here. We were in the middle of the range. Figured we'd touch the bottom, but never really found a short entry back up in here again. Now we're breaking out, and you can consider a long entry. I don't think that'd be horrible. I think we need to do a little bit more thinking on gold, though. We do have a stair-stepping pattern once again. It's a sign of overall weakening strength. Let's look at the daily here. This is the daily chart right now, full of consolidation, tight days, climactic days. Some small trends, but not many. Small trend in here, small trend there. And we're all kind of just caught in the middle of it all, too. We're essentially right dab in the middle. Not really where you want to be trading at. Is this going to be another opportunity to be short? The setups are looking better and better. If we get a good signal bar here, I think we have to be short, especially if we're just going to have small positions like this. We might as well. Gotta have a good signal bar, though. Alright, give me a decent bear bar here. Oh, I mean, it is a bear bar. It's an okay bar. Considering the lack of good signal bars today, though, it makes me hesitant. It makes me want to wait to see if I can't get something a little bit better. It is in a pretty good area. Does seem to be a little bit more selling this time. At least I have time to sit here and stare at it for a while. You can see the bears coming in more because we had this big, you know, three bull bars up. Then we had sideways movement, sideways movement, sideways movement. 2 bear bars in a row, 2 bear bars, bear bar, gray bar, bear bar. There's definitely a little bit more selling in here. Yeah, not really interested in putting an order up on the board right now. Keep on finding these short these short setups that just don't work out. That's just been the case today. Have a little bit better off if you're a bull, but at least as of now, you're not a whole lot better off. And you still have this high coming up as well. And it is to be determined what'll happen there. All right, so how do we know this? I know we were talking about this bar before. How do we know that it's not an exhaustion bar? It's because of the follow through. Follow through in here, and even more follow through. Obviously, in the moment, you don't know if that's a trend bar or if that's an exhaustion bar. This is a bear bar. I'll take this short. This would be 2 in a row. Just one contract to get today, guys. Just one. Alrighty, here we go. Where is our profit target going to be? It's probably going to be the moving average. Kind of like to sell this in a better spot. This is a scalp. It's a scalping play. Risk to reward is a little bit better than it was before, though. You can tell just by eyeballing it. 2 1/4 of risk. Two and 3/4 of profit. Not necessarily, I guess. Oh, guys, I can't just be scalping like this all day. You guys know me, that's not what I do. I don't go for these little bitty scalps. I want a good move. The 2 to 1 risk to reward rate, or the 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio is extremely important to me. And frankly, it should be extremely important to a lot of people. Scalping is really hard. You need a really high win rate to do that. I can have that really high win rate under certain market conditions. But I also don't understand why I would make things hard on myself. Why I would take a risk I don't need to take. I will have to change my thumbnail after this video too. Yeah, at this point we just need to assume that we're going to get to at least the high, this previous high. Just need to not be short until we get there at this point. Alright guys. Well, we didn't really find anything good today. I am about to call it, at least for the stream. I might come back here and do some more trading. In fact, I probably will. But I'm a little bit hungry and I want to go eat something. I've been up since really early this morning, haven't eaten anything. I do plan on coming back and doing the live streams more often. I know they were real popular when I was a little bit more consistent doing it. And I've had some projects that have taken over a lot of that time. But I'm about to hopefully get some more free time coming up. So we'll find out how that goes. Anyway, if you enjoyed the stream, found it useful, you should like and subscribe to the channel. Because I have a lot of cool videos and I'm going to be doing a lot of other cool ones. And apart from that, guys, just keep a lookout. Who knows, I might just do another surprise stream like this, but I might also just schedule one. We'll just find out. But this was a pretty good warm-up stream for me. I haven't actually day traded in maybe four or 5 months or so. So I'm really just coming back here, getting warmed up again. I haven't been doing a lot of trading at all. Like I said, I've been working on some other projects, which I'll talk more about at another time. But it was a pretty good little warm-up for me. Needed to make sure that we were focused, ready to go, and yeah, seems fine. So don't know when, but I'll be seeing you in the future. Keep an eye out, and until next time, enjoy. Best of luck trading.